Hi, we're here in a cafe in Kampala. It's been a long service this morning, then a camp meeting. We're now enjoying a little bit of football on the TV there, but I've got with me Lydia, who's a deaf trainee pastor, and Gary. And Lydia is going to share her testimony, a recent testimony of God working in her life. Thank you, Lydia. Okay, I've got a testimony to share from my life on how God is working. When I was the age, maybe about 10, my father gave me a word. He said I would be a servant of God. Anyway, time went on, and I grew up. And then in 2006, I accepted Jesus. I was in a hearing church at the time, and the time I was there, I didn't know any sign language at all. I hadn't met any deaf either. And it was in a night of prayer that I accepted Jesus would save me. I think I was in S4. Anyway, I was staying at home, and then one day, my mother informed me, Lydia, it's true, God is going to speak through your father. You're going to be a pastor. But I actually didn't believe her. I thought my mum was being double-minded. A deaf person be a pastor? Well, okay, well, time went on. I got involved with the deaf in 2009. Deaf what church? In the deaf church. Okay, which was inside a hearing church. 2009. So that's 7 years ago. Then I got involved with Youth with a Mission, and I learnt a lot there about discipleship. But still, I couldn't see how I was going to be a deaf pastor. But I did receive words, and they informed me in truth that I would be a pastor in the future. Yes, you will be a pastor in the future. And I still kept saying, no, it's impossible. I don't believe it. I still wasn't sure. And then someone else, Reverend Allen, gave me a word as well. He said, you're going to be a pastor. I still didn't believe it. I thought it was impossible. And I looked at my life from before. I had a worldly life. I was involved in prostitution at night. But anyway, God continued to call me. And I grew an interest in the church. Then my father died, and the situation became hard. But God continued to care for me. And I started to serve in the deaf church as a volunteer there. People continued to inform me that I would be a deaf pastor. And then I went to vocational school, and I learned some building skills there. And I was expecting a job might come from the building. And I thought, I knew this thing about serving God. Anyway, the vocational school finished again. But I felt God wasn't happy with me focusing on my vocational training. And one night I had a dream. And it said, it's true, you're going to be a pastor. You're going to preach in church and teach in church. is this dream real? Am I understanding it correctly? Yes. Who was saying that? Who? Oh, my mother said, yes, it's true, your dream is right. God wants to use you. No, I can't believe it. I think I'll get a job as a builder. That way I can save some money, I can support my family. I don't see how God can use me as a pastor. Anyway, I couldn't find any work. So I was staying at home, and finding a job is hard. Anyway, who informed who? Anyway, my mother again, she informed Alan that God has a plan for me. Well, Alan informed your mother. Okay. The two informed me that God had a plan for me. He's got a special plan for me. I was still refusing. I didn't want to know about God's plan. I was thinking about getting married and having a job. Then in 2014, I was so surprised that some things happened. I was informed that I would be sponsored to go to the Deaf Bible School for 3 years. I thought it was impossible. It's such a long time to learn Bible school. It's too much. And my English isn't that good. And my sign language isn't that good either. And my preaching. Okay. I just felt I didn't have enough understanding to preach. And my singing, I didn't really know how to sign sing. So going into Bible school, I just thought, that's no good. I'll refuse it. So anyway, Reverend Alan paused me, we've got to choose one to follow God. Are you refusing to follow God? And then I understood and I accepted to come into the Bible school. So I went to the Bible school for the first year, and my worries were about support. Who was going to support me? My father had died. It's impossible to support me. How am I going to manage in a Bible school? Who would support me? Anyway, I was surprised. God had a wonderful thing for me. And I did get support through Deaf Hearing United. And so I learned at the Bible school. And I was interested. I wasn't actually getting that interested. Anyway, one time I led the singing in the church, and I was leading the worship, and I discovered I was preaching, and I was given all these responsibilities. And I was asked to lead the Bible reading, so I didn't know why I'd been chosen. Anyway, from that day, when I was asked to do things started to change in my life. Before, I thought it was impossible to preach. It was impossible to sing. I thought it was impossible to speak English. To read was also difficult, but now reading's okay. I can preach, and now I can sign sing. So my life has really changed. So I'm so surprised what God has done in my life. Anyway, last year, God spoke to me. Again, J-O-R-A. Jeremiah, the prophet, yeah? From 2:9, okay. And Jeremiah 2:9 says God's got a special plan for each person. And a plan to send it, but where? but they are to preach and to teach. So have you got a plan, God, to send me? How is that? Anyway, it's true. The word happened to me, and I was sent to learn at the Bible school. Anyway, there are some challenges. Sometimes I felt it's hard situations, but God has never left me. He's always cared for me. And now I'm at the end of my third year, come to the end of my third year, and people had not supported me. Oh, the parents have not supported me. The parents never supported me. But I believe that God will continue to support me fully. And He'll change things in my family. So, and in fact, actually, I've seen that since I've been at Bible school, my family has changed. Anyway, I think it was last month. My mother had another dream about me. She wants to catch my faith. Yes, she wants to catch my faith. She can see that Jesus has saved me, and she's phoning me, and I was surprised. Oh, what do you want to know about me? Yeah, I want Jesus to save me. Yes, I said Jesus can save you. It's true. Accept Jesus. So what's making you accept Jesus? And she said, well, it's my faith had accept Jesus and see that Jesus can save her too. So now I'm more ready for God to use me and send me wherever. I won't refuse. So my resistance has gone. So my family are Roman Catholic by background, but only one has really accepted Jesus. I'm the only one in my family. But anyway, in the last 2 weeks, my family have accepted Jesus, and I was praying at night last week, and something happened 2 weeks ago in my family. They all accepted Jesus, and I just thank God. I promise that I will continue to serve God wherever now, because Jesus has touched my family and my life has changed. Yeah. Thank you.